Welcome back to Futurekron, where I delve into the mysteries behind public figures and events. Today, I'm uncovering the truth behind the controversial death of Thomas Kingston. Officially declared a suicide, many believe there's something far more sinister lurking in the shadows. Join me as I use my remote viewing psychic techniques to take a peek into his mind and reveal what really happened. While the official story of Thomas Kingston's death, based on forensics, points to suicide, whispers of foul play and dark secrets refuse to fade. So I decided to put on my psychic sleuth hat to see what really happened. I was shocked to discover that this handsome man, who seemed to have everything going for him, was not murdered, but instead was cursed from birth. Cursed, you say? Let me explain. Thomas Kingston's death has been described as shocking and unexpected by his family and royal commentators alike. The 45-year-old was found dead at his parents' £3 million Gloucestershire home on a Sunday evening. Katie Scarrett, the senior coroner for Gloucestershire, said Thomas had lunch with his parents before his father went on a walk with the family's dogs. When he returned, Thomas was nowhere to be found. His body was discovered by his father in an outbuilding with a catastrophic head injury. A gun was also found at the scene. Sources close to the couple have shared that there are no known relationship or financial difficulties. One close friend told The Telegraph, "You do wonder how something like this happens. He was so fit and so mentally stable. He wasn't a depressed individual." Another friend added, "He's one of those guys who can be quite enigmatic and doesn't tell you what he's thinking." To many, Thomas would not have been immediately obvious as a key player in the royal family. He married Lady Gabriella Windsor, a 42-year-old non-working royal, 56th in line to the throne, and stayed relatively removed from frontline royal life. Although he was a financier by trade, Kingston also spent a period working in hostage negotiation and conflict resolution in Iraq during the war. Despite his impressive resume and outward appearance, I can see that behind closed doors, Thomas suffered through depression, inherited from his mother's side, and amplified by an overbearing, angry, and highly critical father. His father was one of those people who are haughty yet insecure and has no problem belittling others, especially his own son. So it should come as no surprise that it was at his father's home, after having lunch with the man, that Thomas decided to end his life. Now, I don't want to go so far as to point a finger directly at Thomas's father for putting a gun in his hand. No, it was nothing like that. But I wonder if, after years of disapproval, his father said something that triggered Thomas into committing suicide on that particular day at his father's home. When I tap into the situation that day, it was just another ordinary day at the Kingston home. Mom floated around like a ghost, as did Thomas, while his father quietly enjoyed his lunch, focusing attention on his beloved dogs. Thomas had another trigger that day, a fight with his lovely wife, who had been threatening to leave him. Why wouldn't she? While Thomas looked great on paper, presenting the image of perfect husband material, he was emotionally absent, as one would expect. A quick note here on how we choose our partners. We are attracted to those who are the perfect blend of our mother and father as a way to try to mend the relationships with our parents. Weird, huh? But that's how it works. Within Gabriella was that critical side of Thomas's father. So any criticism from her, any expressed disappointment, would have been debilitating for him. Remember, this was Gabriella's first marriage at the age of 42, and she is, after all, the daughter of Princess Pushy. Her mother was accused of being rude and racist, a reputation amplified when she wore a racist brooch to her first lunch with Meghan Markle. Additionally, she was labeled a royal bigot by the New York Post after allegedly telling some noisy black diners to go back to the colonies, a remark she later denied. And yes, if you don't believe that Meghan Markle encountered blatant racism from royal family members, think again. How would you like this thrown in your face? So where was Thomas to turn for support? To his emotionally absent mother? To a critical father? To his wife in a marriage of convenience? Who, by the way, I suspect was having an affair on the side, royal style. There was no one. When he examined his choices, stay in this dysfunctional world and experience pain, disappointment, and an emotional disconnect, the choice was easy. Inside Thomas's mind, there was an incessant vibration, a splitting headache that just wouldn't go away. So he ended it. And I find it interesting that there's no comment on where the gun came from. Did he walk in with it? Unlikely. I wonder if it wasn't a prized possession of his father's, adding poignancy to the choice to end his life there. Now, I know some of you might think, how dare I point the finger at his parents? Yes, these poor people must be suffering over the loss of their beloved son. I agree. But let's be real. People don't take their own lives without some kind of catalyst. And I just don't see any outside force driving this decision other than a lifetime of depression. In many ways, Thomas's death has broken a chain of abuse. His father had a very troubled past himself. Through my psychic impressions, I see a history of extreme abuse and unresolved trauma stemming from his relationship with his mother, which he in turn projected onto his son. This cycle of pain and criticism was passed down, creating a toxic environment for Thomas. I see this pattern frequently, people choosing not to have children to spare them from the same pain caused by their own parents. The story of Thomas Kingston is a prime example of how this can play out, so don't allow your mind to gloss over the finer details. In this episode, I discuss my belief that Thomas Kingston's death was caused by a lifetime of depression resulting from an abusive upbringing. Through my psychic impressions, I saw a history of extreme abuse and unresolved trauma passed down from his father, creating a toxic environment. The final catalyst was the problems at his marriage, which left him feeling isolated and unsupported. This tragic story highlights the importance of addressing deep-seated issues and understanding the impact of relationships with our parents on our adult lives before we dive into a marriage filled with social expectations. So that's it for now. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and that little bell to be notified when the next episode is available. Comment below with your opinions and insights. Thanks for listening.